Hi everybody, this is Abby with Scrappin' Abby, and I am really excited to be a part of the 2012 Where Bloggers Create, hosted by Karen Valentine. And as you can tell from my name, I love to scrapbook and do all kinds of paper crafting, and I'm really excited to share my creative space with all of you. And what I'm going to do is walk around with my camera and kind of give you a close-up view of where I like to create and where I like to spend my free time. So let's get started. I am really excited to share my craft room with all of you. So this is the doorway into the Scrappin' Abby craft room. And you can see right off the bat that I love purple and kind of get a sense of my style. And let's go ahead and get started. I do want to let you guys know though that we just moved into our home not quite 2 months ago, so I'm still working on my craft room, but I would say I'm probably about 98% done. You'll probably notice there's going to be a few things laying on the floor that some projects like those items right there that I haven't quite finished yet, but I am working on that. And I'm going to go ahead and close my door because my husband just got home from work, so pardon the door noise here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to not make all of you dizzy by shaking the camera too much. So I ask for forgiveness in advance. Just going to kind of do a slow pan of my room, and then I'm going to kind of go through and show you some items in my craft room. And I will try to keep this video as short as I can. I tend to get a little talky. One of my nicknames growing up was Gabby Abby, so you've been warned. Okay, so the first item I want to share with you is on my wall. This is a layout I did from my wedding, and I'm celebrating my 3rd anniversary next week, actually, on the 19th. And I'm pretty excited about that. My husband has some plans for us. I'm not sure what they are yet. And I like to display in my room a lot of the projects that I've already created. It just helps me continue to be inspired, and I just love the way it kind of looks and dresses up my room, because I feel that when you create items, if you're going to keep them for yourself, they're not only just, to give away, of course, that's the fun part of it, but I also like to keep them in my room and kind of decorate throughout my house. I have a lot of things downstairs as well that I use in my room, and there's just a couple more things over here I'll show you, but we'll kind of get in a little better detail of that once I get to that side of the room. So this first section I wanted to show you is basically where I would say probably 90% of my paper is stored. As you can tell from the stacks on top of the wood and caps, I'm a huge DCWV paper stack collection. As Erin from DCWV says, she calls all of us stackaholics, and I am truly a stackaholic, and I'm proud of it. So I just kind of want to give you a side view here. This is to kind of show you some of the paper pads that I have. And the wood trays on the sides contain different types of loose sheets of paper that I picked up at some local craft stores, or just some papers I bought, offline. So they're not, they're just loose sheets of paper. And I'm a little bit of an organization nut, so I kind of have my stuff organized by patterns or stripes or color scheme. And it just kind of helps me be a little more organized and kind of helps me with the creative process. These two metal trays that you see right here, metal printer press trays, actually, these were given to me by a friend of mine. She knows that I like to use this kind of decor in my craft room. I have a lot of vintage furniture and some tables that I've kind of shabby chic up. You'll kind of see that throughout my room. And I love this because this holds a lot of smaller items that I used to store in, basically these types of containers, or in just like little Rubbermaid totes. And so this makes it a lot easier for me to have this kind of stuff organized. So I kind of have, the bottom half is like all of my papers that I have left over from projects. This is actually a bag from one of my scrapbook stores I like to go to. I keep all that kind of thing. I like to upcycle items as well. And just kind of goes up from the biggest from the bottom, kind of works its way up to the different sizes of papers. And I am one of those people who likes to keep the small scraps of papers, because you never know when you need just a little tiny punch for a flower or a border or something like that on a card or a tag. I like to keep those pieces of papers. I mean, a lot of them, they're really nice, like Graphic 45. I can't throw that away. I just can't do it. So that's where they stay. And the top 4 drawers hold my stickers and embellishments of this nature anyway. This holds my alphas, different, like I have some flat stickers, I have some thickers, they call them, and I also have like some chipboard letters and things like that in this one. The next one holds some word art strips and like quotes, and some of my items like this, kind of these chipboard items that kind of have sayings and stuff on them that are kind of go with the letter papers that I have. The next one holds like borders or like strips of papers that I've used, or punches, and I kind of made borders out of them, just they're kind of organized there. And the top one, this is probably the messiest drawer in my whole craft room. This is kind of a mishmash of die cuts and stickers and things I've punched, or, you know, my kids get in here and craft. My daughter, she's almost 13 and she likes to paper craft with me, so she kind of has a few things in that top drawer. These are just some more papers that I have, loose sheets that are kind of separated by theme. And as I mentioned before, I love to use vintage items, which also includes vintage ephemera. This is actually, my daughter picked this up for me at Goodwill of all places. This is from an old scrapbook album. And here's some old notebook lined paper that I've picked up on my garage selling trips, or junkin, as I like to call it. And this is a mirror that I repurposed. This was like 1970s gold. Sorry for the glare, and I just painted that white, and I love it. And in the drawers, I have, the top drawer holds my embossing powders and one of my gun heat tools in there. And something I wanted to mention, I love this, and it's all chippy and everything. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but my parents bought this for me when I was still living at home, when I was probably about 12, 13 years old, I suppose. And I've kept it because I love the vintage Victorian kind of look, and the kind of that shabby chic look. And I love that this is all chippy. It just totally fits in with my style. So this was intentional to leave it this way, just so you know. And here in this drawer and in this drawer are some pictures that I have. I have a lot more stored elsewhere, but this is just where I keep the ones that I use where I'm kind of close at hand and when I'm working on some projects. The top one here just holds like my hot glue gun and my glue sticks. And the next drawer down just holds like some of the little bags and whatnot that you get from the packaging when you buy the different scrapbook embellishments. And down here is a little messy because I was working on a project, but this bigger drawer down here holds some cardstock, just like some primary colors. And this box here, I'm really excited about this. This is a recent purchase. I bought this box of buttons and some old sewing notions, and for not even, I don't even think I paid $10 for this whole entire box. I mean, it's just full of those vintage items. And these are going to be going into this. And this is kind of my newest baby. This is a old letter print press tray, printer's tray, I believe is what they actually call it, that I picked up from a local antique store. I've had my eye on it, and they finally put it off 50%, so I was excited to go pick it up and get it. So I'm going to have my husband hang that on the wall for me when I find the perfect spot for that. And that's going to hold all those buttons. Okay, and moving on. This on my wall is another item I picked up at a thrift shop. I just painted it white and kind of sanded it and distressed it a little bit. It just kind of holds some of my projects that I've worked on, and I like to kind of just hang on to. And this is a 2-tier tray. Sorry, I've got a squeaky floor here. This is a 2-tier wood table tray that holds a lot of my vintage buttons, and kind of my daughter got this box for me too. It's really cute. Anyway, this holds like my brads, and I have some buttons kind of stored in some of these old glass jars. I'm always kind of changing things out, so next week they could mean something completely different. I'm always kind of finding new treasures to store my stuff. And down here, and I'm sorry I got the sun in my window, but this down here holds like my tags and some of my chipboard items, and little mini books here. Sorry, I got a little crooked there. And then back there, this is really cool. I love this. I picked this up at an old school, and what I have in there divided are some little chipboard letters, because I like to use those on name boards and some things like that I make. And down here, you're going to see I have some old books that I used to repurpose. My albums are down there, and I have some different ribbons and trims and twine. This is one of about 10 of these vintage locker baskets, and they actually came from the high school in my town where I went. So it's very possible that I used one of these lockers when I was in high school. And this holds just a little part of my punches and stamps. I also picked these up recently too, so don't tell my husband. I just got those offline. And I have to share with you this purple hutch. It's actually like a potter's bench. My husband bought that for me last year for our wedding anniversary, and I just absolutely love it. It was purple, it was already all chippy, and it was like it was just meant for me to own this. And I'm just going to kind of give you a close-up shot there. I love it. Love it, love it. And, okay, I'm going to try to speed this up. I'm sorry, I told you I was a little talky. The top rack up here holds some more of those wire baskets, and this holds, I guess you kind of say it is kind of a collection of items that people either give to me from work or things I pick up along the way. I like to repurpose these kinds of items for different projects, things like that. Some old boxes, like leftover from, you know, gifts and things like that from Christmas. There's a couple other projects right up there at the top I worked on. And the top shelf contains all kinds of chipboard letters, and some are glittered, some are plain, some have paper already on them, as you can see here. Some have that there, and I got a pack of, these ones won't fit in any of my jars, but that's a pack of chipboard letters there. And I just love, oops, sorry, I zoom out a little bit. I just love the old glassware, the old ball glasses, so I kind of have those there just for looks. This here's a little bit on, getting a little messy for me. A lot of my clear stamps, whether they're letters or foam stamps, all kinds of things in here is what I keep for my stamping, for my projects, and I'm kind of outgrowing this little basket, so I'm going to have to come up with a solution for that. And here in the center, let me back up just a little tiny bit here, sorry about that. This here is an old, like a desk file for, like, you know, an inbox, and it came from one of my junk and treasures as well. I have a couple other one of these. I'll show you those in a second. This is kind of holds some of my, what they call the naked chipboard letters and embellishments. I have those there, and then my clear stamping blocks are here. And I have some smaller cling stamps in this container, and this one holds a lot of like wooden stamps that I have. And I also have more on this little display rack here, so just more of those. And the next one, this holds a lot of my punches, and it's not really working out because it's getting pretty full, so it's hard for me to dig in here. Oops, sorry. It's hard for me to dig in here and try to find what I want, because most times the punch I want to use is on the very bottom. So, and then this middle one here just holds some more items that I like to use, repurpose. Like these are old library pockets I picked up at a garage sale. These are from a local hardware store, and I use these for different projects. Cut them down like little paper bag minis, things like that. And I'll kind of pan over here. I'm sorry about the sun. It's kind of a glare in here. These are some old wooden trays I picked up, like I said, just random thrift shops around the area. Some glass knobs. These are just fantastic to use on board books and, you know, altered art items. Some are from Graphic 485, and a lot of these are from, like, just, you know, what do they call those, like salvage shops, like when they tear down old homes and things like that. I have a couple of those in there too. They're really cool. And these are just some old metal drawers I picked up at a vintage sale last summer, and it kind of holds some different embellishments. As you can see, I like to use old jewelry pieces on projects. A lot of my tags, or excuse me, my garment pins, things like that. These are some drawer pulls, Graphic 45 staples basically. And these are some items I just purchased offline. I can't remember the name of this shop. It's an Etsy shop. It's by Drew Scott. I think it's called Discounted Charms. So I just picked all these things up, and they're just fantastic. I cannot wait to use them on some projects. And again, as I mentioned before, I like to display my stuff on vintage items, and these are some things that my mom gave to me, so they mean a lot to me, and I get to see them and not have them just stored in a box somewhere in the garage, but I can also use them to display in my craft room and to hold a lot of my scrapbooking embellishments. And here are some of my glitter mists and things like that in this old cigar box. And I'm going to try not to trip on my laptop cable. I apologize for that shaking. Down here is a basket that's full of my different kits and different items like that. A lot of these I just recently picked up. I attended the Creating Keepsakes convention in Portland, Oregon. And Oregon is where I live, of course. And so I picked up a lot of these at the different vendor booths, and some projects that are kind of fun to work on when you go to crops, or just kind of a, you know, easy thing to work on, and you don't have to bring a lot of your stuff with you when you go. And this table here is another one that I picked up at the same antique sale where I got my purple potter's bench last summer. This was a really, really ugly green, and I painted it a couple coats of purple. I'll kind of zoom in there so you can see. And then I painted over it with white and kind of sanded it down so it had that kind of distressed look. You can kind of see the purple through it. Oh, and down here, while I'm down here, this holds like a lot of my cards and envelopes and things like that I have kind of sorted in there. And this basket on top of the table holds a lot of my embellishments, just random things. This is also bursting at the seams. I need to get another basket started for that. And this from my friend Cindy that I go scrapbooking with for crops. She makes fun of me every time I bring this because she thinks I'm crazy for doing it. But you know what? I love it and I like it, and I use it whenever I go. When I go down to Medford and go scrapbooking with my friends down there. And just some more vintage glass that I've had collected since I was a young girl. Just kind of holding some of my embellishments. I mean, this is kind of a good thing too. When you're out garage selling or an antique store or something like that, you can find like these are oldest little muffin trays, and they're perfect to hold these little types of items like this. I think it is just kind of cute. I'm kind of a visual person. I like to see what I have out, so it kind of inspires me when I'm working on a project to have my items out where I can see them. This here is kind of cool. I participated in the Laura Dennison with Following the Paper Trail. She did a tag swap this year, and these are the tags that I received from the ladies that were in my group. They're all very pretty, and I like them. They're kind of fun to display and kind of look at in here. Okay, I'm going to backtrack here just a little bit and show you. This is another cigar box that I have, and kind of holds some ribbon and trims on the spools. Some I've already used, you can tell. And some spools of twine. The twine's from the Twinery, but the wooden spools are actually from Ribbon Carousel, and they're really super cute. And I like to just kind of have them here because they're within easy reach of my workspace to add on projects I'm working on. And this is another item my friend Cindy likes to make fun of me for, because at one time I did have these kind of rolled up and organized by color, but as I'm working on stuff, I kind of get a little crazy and don't put everything back like I had it. But these are just some more of the desk trays that I was telling you about. I'm not sure what they're really called. I guess just you put them on your desk and you put files on them, like an inbox or something like that. And I picked some more of those up on my junk in trips. Just some there. And the bottom one is my spools. And I'm a member of the Really Reasonable Ribbon Club. And you get a sample pack of ribbon like this every month. And they pick, like around Easter, of course, you get, Easter colors. And 4th of July, for July, I got, 4th of July colors. So this is kind of just where I keep my ribbon collections like this that come in the packs. It's kind of a fun thing. There's two of my cutting boards. I have a Fiskars, and then I have a Making Memories one that folds out. It's a little bit bigger, and I keep those down here on my floor, my paper towels for all my inking and things like that. And we'll go to my desk. And this is where I sit to create. And again, I'm so sorry for the lights, the sunshine shining through with the blinds. It just kind of have that big window right behind my back. So on my desk are my inks. I love Tim Holtz Distress Inks, and I'm hoping to get more. I kind of buy a few here and there. Big bowl of my chalk inks. Most of these I picked up from a lady off of line who was getting out of scrapbooking altogether. Oops, took that lid off there in accident. She was going 100% digital, so I was able to pick up a ton of stuff from her earlier this year. My little spinner rack for my ink distress tools. This is a container I picked up from Safeway, from the floral section, and this holds like all of my adhesives, glues, my alcohol I use to clean off my glass mat that I work off of, and my scissors, things like that. This is just a caddy, of course. You can get at any craft store. I think I got this one from like Michael's or something. My kids got it for me one year for Mother's Day. This kind of holds a lot of my tools. This is this little tray I have. These are really cool. I picked these up at the hospital where I used to work. These are these are purple. You can't really tell really because I've got stuff in them. But they hold like my pens, and these are like my liquid pens, and my extra foam pads for my other ink pads that I have. These are my Stampin' Up! Markers. And again, I'm just using more of the vintage glassware to kind of hold my stuff. Some scissors. I never ever thought I would actually ever use these again. I bought these like, oh my goodness, probably before my daughter was even born, and she's almost 13. And I held on to them, and I thought, man, these would be kind of fun to use again. And I've noticed online that other people are starting to use those edge cut scissors again too, so I'm glad I hung on to them. Now you might be wondering, what is this for? And I use this for when I'm working like with glitters or things like that, and they get on my desk. I'll kind of run this over my projects, and it also works really well on your die cut pads like from Sizzix, because they're the foam, and a lot of times I like to cut fabric or burlap, and I get like frays of threads and fabric on there, and so I run this across my pads and it picks it up perfectly, so I'm not sitting there picking off little bits of thread and everything. and this is my laptop. And it would not be me if you did not see me with the Diet Dr. Pepper. I am completely addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper, and I always have that in my craft room. Just tape and just a table. This is my workspace. No matter how big my table is, I always end up working in just this small 12 by 12 area. It's so funny because I end up collecting things around my workspace as I'm working on a project. So it's kind of funny that I have this larger table to work on, and I end up with just a really tiny spot to actually craft on. So I'm going to step back here. This is my chair. This is actually from a Duncan 5 dining set that I have, and I have repurposed some of the chairs because I don't use the dining set anymore. It's in my garage. Painted it purple, and I put a pad on it, which I need to replace because it wasn't really the right size. But anyway, so this is where I sit, and it's my window. Got my heat tool there. And we'll kind of go around this way. I think I hit everything on this side. This is another one of those items that I picked up at a garage sale, or actually from a thrift shop. I think I paid like, I don't know, $1 for it or something. And it was gold, and I just painted it white and added some, some fake flowers in it. And I'm not very good at arranging flowers. I'm much better playing with paper flowers, but I think it's kind of cute for what I can do. Okay, so let me show you underneath my table. This is just another basket that holds just a random mix of stuff. And most of this are things I picked up at the Creating Keepsakes convention I mentioned to you. They have like a huge blowout sale like the last night of the convention, and so a lot of the stuff was like, $2 a bag. I mean, like $2 for this full bag of just all kinds of scrappy goodness in there. And this is another one of those containers that I picked up from Safeway. This holds a lot of my tool and my smaller pieces that I like to use on projects. Put that there, and then we'll kind of come around here. And this is another table I picked up off online. It had purple on it, so it was perfect. This is where I like to set my paper pads and my scraps of paper as I'm working on a project, so they're not actually on my workspace, but they're on my this little table here, and I can just kind of easily grab them and turn to my chair and grab them really quickly. This is kind of a, ugly light, but I like it because it's kind of a gooseneck light, and it shines light on my desk, especially in the evening time when the sun goes down. I don't have the best light in this room, which we're going to fix. That's it right there. My husband's going to get me a shandy, and I'm really excited about it. A chandelier. I call it a shandy for short. And I'm just on the lookout for the perfect vintage chandelier to hang in my room. Okay, let me back up just a little bit here. This is another one of those organizational boards that you can get like at any craft store online. My kids got this for me for either Mother's Day or for birthday gift. I can't remember which. I usually get crafty supplies for gifts, which is what I love. And up top there's a plate that was hand painted by a good friend of mine. It was her grandmother who painted this for me, and I cherish it. I love it. It's purple, of course, and it just fits perfectly in my room. So you can kind of see what's on there. Paints and some smaller embellishments and spools of ribbon. And this table is another one I picked up offline, and I just put one of these gauze table overlays, which is from my wedding, in my room. And this kind of holds like a lot of my loose flowers, the bigger flowers. I have some here. I was telling you earlier that through my die cut machine, my Vagabond, I like to run burlap and fabric through it and that kind of thing. And so I keep those kind of flowers there so I can use them for other projects. Just some looser flowers, spools of some various trims in here, and some really cool old glass jars that I use for my bits of ribbon and trims and lace and things like that I have left over from another project. I keep them in there. And this old glass canning jar holds some more of the paper flowers and fabric flowers that I've cut. And I found this old wooden with glass. It's like one of those old candy top dispensers, like from an old mercantile or something. And these hold just different random flowers inside there. So it makes it kind of nice to have those items in there for easy access. There's that. And then we'll go underneath the table, then I'll show you the wall. Now this is kind of crazy. I like to keep this stuff. It might look kind of cluttery having all of this kind of right here. But since I work right there, it works out good for me just to kind of reach over and grab these items. And these are things that I use like all the time on most projects. The top one is a lot of my blings and my stick pins. You can kind of see right here I have a lot of different blings in here. And the bottom half holds some seam binding, lace, things of that nature. Back one, kind of the same thing, some old patterns, because I use these on different projects, and there's some more lace down there. There's some stickles that I have in there. I'll put this back. An old wooden sewing drawer, and the knob fell off. I was so sad. Hold some lace. This is some more seam binding, and another old wooden sewing drawer. I just think that is just so pretty. I'm trying to get the camera on it. I love all that chippiness. Some wire baskets. These were actually red. I picked them up from a local furniture store for like $2 for these. You can't see the other one. It's buried back there, but it's these wire baskets. I just painted them white, and I hold a lot of this ribbon. Let me try to get down here a little bit so you can see a little better. This holds my big spools of ribbon that I picked up or have been given. And these are another great item that you can get from your local thrift shop or Goodwill or garage sales. I think I paid, oh man, for this whole big basket back there, not even $2 for all this stuff. It was in a huge, huge bag at the Goodwill. And I grabbed all that because it's just fun to use on projects down there. Okay, and up here are some old windows I picked up. And this is where I display some of the cards from the design teams that I'm on. They are ones that I just haven't either given away yet, or I'm just kind of attached to them, so I kind of display them here so I can kind of look at them, like I said earlier, be inspired from some projects that I've worked on. Now we'll move on to the middle. And we're almost done, so thank you for bearing with me. This paneling on the back here is actually a room divider. This was given to me by a friend of mine, and she had it, and she painted it white, and then it was partially black because she was working on another project. She didn't want it anymore and gave it to me, and of course I painted the panels a purple, the inset panels, and then I painted white over top, and then I took some sandpaper and sanded over the top so you could see the purple peeking through. And I thought it was kind of cool to just put that against the wall, since I haven't yet had a chance to paint my room yet or anything. I thought, oh, we'll just put that against the wall and make it look, have that, you know, vintagey, shabby look that I like so much. This is another craft table, and pardon this, I'm working on a project for somebody for the wedding, so I have to have that out. I meant to put that away, but I just really needed to keep that out so I could dry. So excuse that. But this table is fantastic. This is something else I picked up from that same lady who was selling all of our scrapbook stuff. She sold this table for like $20, and I was like, take it, I love it. And I love having this extra space in my room. This is perfect for when I'm working on with my crickets, or my vagabond, which is right over here. It's just nice to have this space here just to have these kind of projects, so I'm not always working off my main workspace, which is right over here. Okay, you can kind of see here. These are just some tags that I've made from different tutorials I've done on YouTube, or from some design team projects. I just have them kind of there in my 7 Gypsies library drawer tray. These are my kiddos. Of course, they're almost 17 and almost 13 now, so these are a little bit old. These are some metal trays I picked up again, more of the thrift shop's junk-in type trips. They hold some just random embellishments, different things like I go to. This is still a work in progress. I don't even have labels on these yet. This was also given to me by another good friend of mine. And I'm in the middle of putting like some flowers, different paper flowers and stuff in here. You can see from this container I have these in something completely different. And, you know, I kind of change things around as I just come across new treasures to use. So these are just holding some flowers. This one, as you can tell, only has a few because I'm not quite done yet. And moving on, let's see, did the cricket. Just some old, these came from a school in California. I got them from a friend of mine. They just gave them to me. They were cleaning out their grandmother's home, and I was like, I'll take them, thank you. And I have some of my magazines on the bottom. And the top are some recent projects that I've done. I just kind of like to have them out. I just think they're just pretty to look at. Not trying to be, you know, conceited about that, but to me, I love to look at them. I put a lot of time and effort into these things, and I just think they're pretty to look at and kind of dresses up the room a little bit. And just a dress form, because I kind of like that. Some more of this ribbon, which is from May Arts. I have to throw in there because I love May Art ribbon. Vagabond, which I won, by the way, at a crop 2 years ago. I was pretty excited. Right when these first came out, I won it. I didn't even know what it was. I hate to admit it, but I didn't even know what it was. And I thought it was just like a storage case or something to carry, you know, scrapbook items to and from crops or something. I had no idea it was a die cut machine. And this is probably, I use this 100 times more than I actually use my crickets. I love to use this machine. It's like probably my most favorite tool I use. And my fan, because it gets pretty hot, because as you can see from the glare in the room, the sun faces my window in my room here, so it gets pretty warm. Underneath my table, I have some more of those wire baskets in the back. You can't really see them, but they're holding some scrapbook magazines and some different designer books. I have some Allie Edwards stuff sitting back there. And that wooden tray in the front holds all my different cutting mats, my ink mats I have, and I have other trimmers that my kids use. They don't get to use my nice ones, but I have some different trimmers for them to use. In the front here, just some baskets that contain some more of the yarn and some fabric and felt, and there's some more fabric there. And some of the stuff I buy, you know, at the scrap, like Joann's or something in the fabric section, in the remnant section, I'll buy like little quarters or half a yard or something like that and just use them because I run them through my Vagabond and cut out different shapes and whatnot. And there's some projects back there I'm still working on, so excuse that mess. And then over here is just another window that I have holding some more of my cards and projects. Up top here, there's some more tags. These are actually tags and little thank you notes I've received from people when I've either purchased stuff from them online or when I've won a blog giveaway or something like that, and I've kept them because I love them. I think I like to display them because I think they're really cute. And those two tags on the end actually are mine that I made. I did a couple of YouTube videos on those too, on how to do that technique on there. It's resist emboss. And this here is a shelf. This top one that's purple, this was actually an apple green, which wasn't bad looking, but it didn't match my room, and that was the purpose of me buying this little wicker shelf, was to use in my scrapbook room. So currently it is holding my Sizzix Tim Holtz die cuts, dies, I guess is the right word for that. This is what I was talking about earlier. I didn't clean this one off all the way, but how it's that foam. If you run one of those, oh, just slipped my mind. I can't even think right now. When you run one of the, let's walk over and I'll show you because I can't think of what it's called. When you run this over top of one of these pads, it gets rid of all the fabric, if you have threads, if you're cutting fabric on your machine, or even little bits of paper too. And there's those, and there's some more new ones I haven't opened yet. And this, my embossing folders, just some of the ones that I have that I picked up online. Another one of these really awesome metal trays. I just love them. I just love that, you know, rusty kind of look. Little handles on there. And then here are some Cricut cartridges I have. I don't have a ton because like I said, I like to use the Vagabond more, so that's kind of where I usually spend my money when I'm buying die cut items, is my Vagabond stuff. But I like my Cricut too. And down here is just, you know, where I keep my mats and that kind of thing. And this is another layout I forgot to show you when I was looking up that I did. I haven't got a picture on it yet, but I will. And this I picked up when I was out at a crop with my girlfriend. I just bought it because I thought it was pretty. It's purple and it's got butterflies and it's kind of got that damask look, and I like that because that's kind of a look I like. I like damask and I like the fleur-de-lis too. It's kind of fun thing. And then here's my closet. This holds like my totes. It's kind of messy because I'm working on projects, like I told you. That's some stuff I'm working on. This holds like my totes when I go to crops and stuff. Everything's purple. Love it. And it's kind of got some storage in there. It kind of holds my boxes for my Cricut machine and my other die cut machine. This is a little messy looking, but these totes contain like some flowers and some other embellishments that I just haven't put out yet. So, and then those are some of the trays I used to hold my paper in before I bought those wood ones. I like the wood ones a little better, so that's what I use. And then we'll kind of turn around here. I'm trying to go slow so I don't make you dizzy as I'm turning around. And behind my door, this is what I use. I just use this foam board. This is what I use when I take pictures of my cards and stuff for my design teams that I'm on. And then I have a canvas back here. I haven't put anything on it yet. And these are just some more unfinished projects, as I showed you in the beginning, for my room. So I have a bare wall and things like that I'm still going to be putting some things on and probably painting, getting some kind of curtain, you know, to put over my windows. Oh, okay, well, I forgot to tell you about these. These are some purple shandies that a friend of mine I used to work with gave these to me. I love them. I absolutely just love them. I use them in my wedding. There are some glass beads on there, and they're actually for votives, but I'm just using them just to display in my room because I think they're so pretty, and they're purple. So I do want to say, I meant to say this in the beginning, that I started off scrapbooking. I've been scrapbooking for 17 years this year, and I started off paper crafting on the wooden TV trays. And we just moved into this house a couple months ago, so my craft room that I had before was less than half the size of what I have. So I am very blessed and very happy to have this extra bedroom as my craft room. And I don't want to come across like I'm being show off or anything, because I hope that's not the tone you guys have gotten from this video. But I'm just really, oh, cord, that's messy. But I'm just really blessed to have such a wonderful space to work in. And I appreciate my husband giving me the 4th bedroom to have this space to create, because you know, I'm completely addicted to this. You know, I have a business I'm doing out of this, and it's just nice to have this space to craft in. So I hope you enjoyed my tour. I tried not to go too long. I apologize if I did. I also am going to have some pictures of my room on my blog as well, but I wanted to do a little video tutorial just in case some people would prefer to look at that instead of looking at 1,000 pictures. So thank you for joining me on my Scrappin' Abby. I'm going to kind of close out on this picture of my daughter and I, because she's just so stinking cute. So I just want to thank you for joining me on the tour of Where Bloggers Create 2012, put together by Karen Valentine. And I can't wait to see what everybody else has done. And have a great day.